This is Dan Kedme, a producer on the Webby Award-winning podcast Masters of Scale. On our show, our host Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, shares some truly surprising tales of scale. We've also asked our sponsor, the Mastercard Center for Inclusive Growth, to share their own tales of scale. How do they help build and contribute to thriving economies? They offered a series of solutions that you can hear throughout our show. Or you can listen right now. Up next, a better payday.
I had always thought that if you went into a factory, it was these terrible working conditions, people sitting on floors, sewing with their hands.
That's Shamina Singh, president of the Mastercard Center for Inclusive Growth, the philanthropic arm of Mastercard. She's describing a visit to a clothing factory in Vietnam several years ago. She went in expecting the worst.
And what I found was that they're clean, they're modern, they're technology-based. These are not sweatshops.
Sweatshops are becoming a thing of the past, and that's no accident, Shamina says.
For major brands like Nike and Patagonia and Levi's who have made the investments in wage and age transparency and who are holding themselves accountable, there has been a lot of change and a lot of advancement.
As working conditions advance, we can ask the next level question. How can we include those garment workers in the digital economy? Shamina and her colleague Parag will explain the whole 9 yards.
On payday, these armed guards show up with these big boxes of cash. And literally the floor manager is counting out cash and bundling it up together and handing it to workers as they stand in line.
That's Parag Mehta of the Mastercard Center for Inclusive Growth. He's describing the way garment workers globally, who are mostly women, receive their weekly wages.
And you can just tell that that whole situation is fraught with so much danger. Anybody could predict what day is payday, where to stand outside the factory to attack these women and steal their money. And they have to carry close to their chest as they walk home, hoping that nobody robs them, only to get the money scooped up by a mother-in-law or by a husband to be spent on things that are not maybe how they would have spent the money. That lacks a certain amount of dignity.
Whether it's a mugger or the mother-in-law, cash payments rob these workers of their autonomy. Enter the digital payroll, a solution Mastercard introduced with Levi's to better serve workers in their factories.
So the idea of turning payments from cash to prepaid cards that automatically refill with every pay period and allow the person who carries the card to make decisions about where to spend the money.
These prepaid cards are tailor-made for the garment workers, and they have an added benefit.
Many of these women, they may not have formal identity. They may not have a driver's license. They certainly don't have passports. And so this prepaid card that has their name on it, that they can manage their balance over their smartphone, it gives a lot more freedom and choice.
The fact that we could have a conversation about digital payroll for factory workers wouldn't have even been possible just a few years ago.
We're back with Shamina Singh. She was telling us about their groundbreaking work with Levi's, bringing garment workers into the digital economy. And also, why Levi's?
They're always held up as an example of a responsible company getting it right.
Shamina reached out to Levi's to learn from them, and they created a virtuous cycle, as Shamina tells it. Levi's conducts worker well-being surveys.
If you dig into those surveys, you would hear the workers saying they want more control over their lives, more control over their money.
Mastercard's digital payroll and prepaid cards give workers more control. Factory owners see substantial cost savings, and global brands find a solution that lifts communities while sustainably building business too.
If your end goal is to ensure that a community thrives or that an individual succeeds, if that is your main focus, then it's very easy to start to work across organizations, across companies, with nonprofits.
If your organization is cut from this same cloth and wants to see communities thrive along with your business, the Mastercard Center for Inclusive Growth wants to partner with you. Email them at scale@mastercard.com. That's scale@mastercard.com.